Mrs. Ray. One more day. We're back at it again, okay? So we're on day 2. You're on passage 2. Sweet science comes baked in. So the first thing we talked about yesterday is making sure that you identify your genre frame first. So I need to even know what genre this is so I know the way that I need to be thinking, okay? So this is just going to give you an overview, and this is just a bit of review, okay? So when we are reading nonfiction, like we talked about yesterday, I'm always thinking about what does the author teach me about the topic, and then what is the author's point of view, right? So what is the author trying to get you to walk away understanding about this topic, all right? Then the next thing that I want you to think about, if it is fiction, because now it is your job to identify what genre this is, okay? If it is fiction, who are your characters? What problems are emerging in the text? So thinking through what are the problems that are coming up, how are they developing, and then what are the solutions to the problems? Are there solutions? It doesn't mean that every time you read a text, there is a solution. So you need to keep that in mind and be really flexible thinkers as you read. And then lastly, what is the theme? The author's really, that's the whole point. When we talk about deepest meaning with fiction, this is it, okay? Theme. As we get into now thinking about poetry, which is something that might also come up, we want to think about what is the literal meaning. And just so you know, all of this is in the packet too that you have, okay? Like in the first 2 to 3 pages, you'll find a chart very similar to this, okay? If it is poetry, what is the literal meaning? What is actually happening in the poem? But then what is the deepest meaning, which is what we're going back to here as the theme. So how is the author communicating that theme? Is the author using some element of figurative language? Is the author using a lot of strategic phrasing and short phrases that are going to help get that point across? This is what we want to pay attention to as we start to do a little bit of those closer reads as we get to the deepest meaning, okay? So once again, as you are reading, you are paying close attention to what is my genre, and then you, as you know the genre, then you move into thinking about what are the questions I must ask myself as I'm reading, okay? When you're reading, make sure you're marking up your text, that you are jotting on it in the agreement with these questions, and then as soon as you're done with that, you're going to move right into working on either the written response that comes along with it or the multiple choice questions. For today, the question that you will be answering is, why does the author choose to end the passage with, and that will be the sweetest cherry of all? You're using 2 details from the passage to support your response. So you already know, what is Miss Ray looking for when you are giving a response? I hope right now you're like, oh, you want me to restate the question. Ding, 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 ding. So I would say the author chooses to end the passage with blah, 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 because that's an option, okay? You can do it a different way in your phrasing, but that should be the general point, okay? You want to answer all parts of your question. That should definitely be coming up. So if there are 2 parts of that question, you're answering all 2 parts, okay? And then you are going to cite evidence. That means, can I just throw in quotes and leave it there? No, you can't do that. You got to introduce your quote, make sure that you're citing where it came from within your text, and then the last step is E. So we're going down RACE. Last step is E, where you are explaining how that evidence supports. If you just throw in evidence and you never talk about how it answers or supports your answer, you're not doing a good job of arguing this, okay? And so this is the point that we're going to be focusing on. All right, so that is your reminder for today. Remember, as you get into your written response, make sure that you restate the question, you answer all parts, cite your evidence, and make sure that you've introduced it, and then include how that evidence supports your thinking. All right, I hope everyone is doing well, and if you have any questions, feel free. You can call, you can text, you can email me, and I'm pretty flexible, so got a lot of time on my hands. All right, talk to you soon.